Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by Cachefly. CACHEFLY.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Radio Networks on Sunday, February 18th, 2018. This is episode 1464. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Rocket Mortgage from Quicken Loans. Home plays a big role in your life. That's why Quicken Loans created Rocket Mortgage. It lets you apply simply and understand the entire mortgage process fully, so you can be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. Get started at rocketmortgage.com/techguy. And by Fracture. Fracture is a photo decor company that prints your photos directly onto glass and gets delivered to your door ready to display right out of the box. Visit fracture.me and use the code TechGuy15 at checkout to get 15% off your first order. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Yeah, time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, talking assistants, and all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. 888-827-5536. That's toll-free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, you can still reach me. You just have to use Skype or something like that, Skype out. And it should still be toll-free. All you need is the number, 888-827-5536. Be careful out there. That's the standard advice, isn't it? When it comes to technology. Be careful out there. Latest scam. Are there more scammers than ever, or are we more gullible than ever, or probably we just hear about it more, right? That's all it is. There's a payment system called Zelle, Zelle. Are you familiar with that? They're advertising like crazy. I see ads everywhere I go. Your bank may be using it. I think banks are worried because, between Facebook and Apple and Google, they're afraid that pretty much banking will be handled on your smartphone, and you won't need a bank anymore. They don't want you to realize that. You don't really need a bank. You don't. You just with Bitcoin, for instance, it's decentralized. Your money is just stored in a digital wallet that you control. There's no bank, and it's given that you're getting so little money from a savings account in the bank, and they charge you for checking. What do you need a bank for? Do you write checks? I guess people still write checks. I haven't written a check in ages. Occasionally I'll write it. Somebody will come to the house, you get a plumber, and you write them a check. But increasingly now they're coming with these little swiping things like Stripe that you just swipe it and you can use a credit card. Increasingly, there's no money involved. I guess you need an ATM to get some cash, but even cash is kind of going by the wayside. So there's a payment system called Zelle. The banks are jumping on saying, well, we got to have something because we don't want everybody to use Apple Pay all the time. You can pay somebody with Apple Messenger. You can send them a message and they can receive it. I did that the other day with my hair cutter. I wanted to say hairdresser, but that would be, my haircut, my barber. I transferred with Apple Pay. Press a button, ching, 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 goes in her phone. That's it. It's done. Fast, easy. Apple doesn't even take a cut. So Zelle is a system. Venmo's another one. You've heard of Venmo? That's one the kids started using to pay each other. So Zelle is a system the bank folks want to use, except that if you look at Zelle's support Twitter account, Zelle support on Twitter, you'll see message after message saying the same thing. Hello, we're sorry to hear that happened to you. That doesn't sound good. Zelle is a great way to exchange money with people you know We recommend against using Zelle for items sold by persons unknown to you. It seems like there's this new scam going around where people sell items they don't have, tickets and that kind of thing. You do it all online, right? Via Craigslist or some similar system. And you send them money via Zelle. And you think it's safe because, A, it kind of looks like PayPal or something, which is backed by PayPal. You know, when PayPal first started, they had to have some sort of, guarantee that you wouldn't get ripped off, although people still do. But, they had some sort of insurance kind of thing. But Zelle doesn't bother with that. And so you might think, well, in fact, in this story, which is from TechCrunch, they talk to a guy who said, well, I was sending from my bank, Wells Fargo, to his bank, Bank of America. Both use Zelle, big banks. I sent them the money. He was trying to buy some tickets, called him. He said, yeah, the tickets will be there any minute now. That's the scam. You always go, oh, yeah, it just takes a little while. I did it already. Hoping you'll go away. Then he called again. The phone was disconnected. Checked with his bank. His bank checked with Bank of America. They said, yeah, he closed that account. And we're not going to do anything about it. That's that. There's no backup, no guarantee. So Zelle's answer is, we recommend against using Zelle to pay for items sold by persons unknown to you. So a little word of warning. It's not protected. You'd think if somebody has a Bank of America account, that Bank of America verified his, info. Maybe not. He complained even to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And eventually he said, I got a courtesy refund from Wells Fargo, but Wells' position was, well, we don't owe you anything really. So be careful out there. Zelle, as they say, is not a great system to pay for items sold by persons unknown to you. Use it with friends. Use it with somebody you trust. I guess that's kind of true in general. My bank uses it, USAA. It kind of sounds like the bank's going to stand behind it, right? It's not like a credit card. It's not like PayPal. They don't. So I don't think scams are on the rise. I think scammers have found new ways to take advantage of people. And, if you were I remember, what was that George C. Scott movie where he was the con man? Remember that one? Way back when. Or The Grifters. That was another great one. All about the con. But they were always in person, right? You had to trick somebody. The Sting, remember that? That was a great con. But they were elaborate. And you had to... Now with the internet, it's easy. Just say, I'm a Nigerian prince. I got $15 million. I just need somebody in the U.S. to help me. People fall off. The Flim Flam Man. That was the George C. Scott movie. We love con men. There's a great book called The Confidence Game. It's all about how, and I remember interviewing the author of it. She was fascinating. But Maria Konakova, New Yorker writer, The Confidence Game, the psychology of the con and why we fall for it every time. She said she knew in some cases she'd be talking to these con men and she knew she was being conned, but we want to be conned and she would just kind of go along with it, even though she knew this is a con. The only thing that's changed is instead of these cons being, perpetrated on city streets now, they can use the internet. And what's funny, they're still the same cons. They have the same kind of funny names. They have the same kind of technique, the blow off, the fix, the send, the touch, the put up, the play, the grifter, and the mark. It's not changed. Maybe I would bet there are more con people than there used to be because there's less risk after all. There's less risk. I hope you don't get conned. I hope you're aware. One of the things I always worry about, because we talk a lot about on this show and all the shows I do, we talk about it's kind of the nature of news is the bad news. We talk about how people get ripped off, how people get conned, how the internet's dangerous and your privacy's at risk, and there's cameras everywhere. And I think I worry I scare people too much. I don't want to scare you. Most people will never get conned or hacked, even if they're wide-eyed innocents. And because you listen to this show, you're not a wide-eyed innocent. You're paying attention. You're just a little dash of cynicism, skepticism, carefulness, That's all it takes. And we get so much value out of these, for instance, payment systems like Zelle or the internet in general, email. Yes, they open new avenues for the confidence game. But after all, we get so much benefit from it. I'd hate to scare people away. So I understand if I talk about these, it's just a word of warning to have you have that a little dash of skepticism. But don't feel like, I'm not going to use the internet anymore. That thing's dangerous. It's great. It's great. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Ask Leo. We have a website, too. If you hear me talk about something and you want to know more, that website's free and open and available right now at techguylabs.com. EMP. It's an interesting question, Bob. Of course, I, like everyone else, have read all these books and articles about how a bomb exploded at altitude could send an electromagnetic pulse that could fry all your electronics. But then I've also read, let me see if I can find it, articles more skeptical about EMP, saying it's not as easy to do and it's not as dangerous. It's another one of those cases where we love being sensational, but sometimes the truth is a little bit more mundane. The overrated threat from electromagnetic pulses. Matthew Gault, writing on Medium. The Medium page is war is boring. Few weapons are as scary as those that exist only in our minds. A singular nuclear weapon detonated at high altitude over this country would collapse our electrical grid and other critical infrastructures and endanger the lives of millions. With North Korea in possession of nuclear missiles and Iran close to having them, an EMP is no longer a theoretical concern. It's a real threat. And always be suspicious of somebody who wants to scare you, by the way. Especially politicians who want to scare you. Problem with fear over electromagnetic weapons, it forgets two simple facts. First, generating enough juice to cause a significant amount of damage is really hard. Second, a country dealing with busted electronics after an EMP assault is a country fighting a nuclear war. That's a good point. EMP is the new test case of seriousness in national security, but not in the way the advocates not in on the joke think. It doesn't pass the logic test. An electromagnetic pulse following a nuclear blast is a real thing. The problem is the process of creating EMP big enough without the devastation of a nuclear warhead is expensive, absurd, and not worth the effort, even if it works. Here's a series of articles in the Space Review by Yusuf M. Butt. He's Foreign Affairs Officer in the State Department's Space and Advanced Technology Office. For a large device greater than 100 kilotons, the whole region on the Earth's surface, which is within line of sight of the high-altitude explosion, will experience the EMP pulse. Of course, as we know, power decreases with the square of the distance. Anyway, a good article to start with, and then I guess one will have to, if you really want to read it, is this series of articles in the Space Review. Here, I'll put a link in the show notes. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Axe Leo. That's the phone number. Hey, Kim Schaffer, you were rocking out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. I have no idea who that was. But
doesn't matter. Rock and roll is the universal language.
Absolutely.
So let us talk to some people on the phone. What do you say?
Yeah. Well, let's go to a guy that's got a even more radio voice than you.
Oh,
wow. Ed in Tulsa.
Well, we'll have to compete over that, won't we?
He definitely sounds like he's been in radio. But he needs to figure out how to get internet from his house to another building that's about 100 feet away. And wants to know the best way to do that.
Let's go to Tulsa. Thank you, Kim. Hello, Ed.
Uncle Leo.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah. Well, it helps to have allergies today.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Oh, yeah. Well, I have an outbuilding about 100 to 120 feet from the back of my house, and I'd like to get internet out there. I'm using Google Mesh, 3 points here in the house. And, of course, the first thought that came to mind, either use one of them or buy a fourth node and put it out there. I have a window in the back of the house, of course, and a window in the building. Or, of course, I could drop an Ethernet cable. I don't know if you can drop one that far, but it'd make
how far is it? You say 100 feet?
100 to 120 depends. My bedroom where I have one Google Mesh node is probably 70 to 80 feet, and the other one is in my office, which is far corner of the house.
The good news is you could try it just to see. It's a long distance. Wi-Fi really kind of peters out pretty quick over a long distance. On the other hand, there you have line of sight, and you're right. Putting it in the window, and if you had somewhere on the outbuilding that had a window or somewhere they could see each other, that would certainly it'd be worth trying it first just to see. Are they on the same electrical grid?
Yes, they're actually tied together. The house is
okay, and they're not separated by a junction box. It's a straight shoot.
Well, they are separated because the outbuilding comes into the main circuit breaker panel, and that's it. It isn't tied into that.
Yeah, because power line networking, which for a long time wasn't a great solution, has gotten better. And while it won't give you all the speed of Ethernet, a hardwired connection, it's a great way to send it through a distance, but it does get stymied by fuse boxes or junction boxes. Those can cause. I think the first thing I'd try is putting that Google Wi-Fi in your bedroom window, and then the closest distance, and then taking one of your extras and putting it out there before you buy another extra. Then there's the other option is antennas, and they certainly work, but you have to kind of understand what they're doing. It can't be unidirectional because you need to boost the signal going and coming, obviously. So there's a great site for this called Radio Labs. Has a good name, too. And they have a lot of information on Wi-Fi antennas. In fact, they have a whole article, What is the Best Wi-Fi Antenna for Me, that explains the issues. And then they actually have recommendations. I think Radio Labs may even sell these as well. So it's a good idea to understand the issues and then the kinds of antennas that would work best for you. So what I would say is you may be close enough for the Google Wi-Fi to work. Try that first. What you'll see, of course, is you'll have fewer bars. And there are good ways to measure that. There are Wi-Fi measurement tools. Android has a bunch of them. If you have Windows, I recommend Insider with 2 S's. And then a Macintosh, there's one called, I think, Wi-Fi Analyzer. And those will tell you.
One concern.
Go ahead.
One concern I had with putting the Google nodes in there, and the windows are going to get sun on them several hours a day. Will they just kind of fade out, wear out?
It's not. Heat isn't good for. They're computers, and they're not even very powerful computers, and they're not very well cooled computers. If you could trench or somehow get Ethernet out there, of course, that's not too long for Ethernet. That's not a problem for Ethernet. It'll go hundreds of feet. So,
what do I put on the far end of the Ethernet?
You'd put what we call a switch. There's a couple of ways to do this. So, the Google Home, I think, as I remember, the Google Wi-Fi. Wait a minute, I have one right here. Let me just look at it. Yeah, it does. It has 2 Ethernet ports. One for your internet, your cable modem or your DSL modem, and then another one. And you could have the Ethernet come out of that, go across if you had a way to string it or put it underground, go across. You'd want to get either conduit, if you're going to put it underground, or even actually if you're going to put it up in the air, you probably want to have it protected, not just an Ethernet wire going out there. You want to get some weatherproof conduit, put it through there, and draw it out. And then on the other end, you can either have just a Wi-Fi, a simple Wi-Fi access point, or you could have a switch that would connect to a Wi-Fi access point and also have a hard line. Right. So there are a number of ways to do that, but I would first start just by putting the Google Wi-Fi out there and see. It might actually get that far. If it doesn't, then Ethernet's one way to do it. A lot of people don't like to do that because it's hard to string Ethernet and all that. But power line networking, if you don't have a junction box in between, that's an inexpensive, easy thing to do. TP-Link makes some nice power line networking. In fact, I've used it in my house. You plug one in with it has an into the wall. It has an Ethernet port that you would connect to your Google Wi-Fi device, and then you plug the other into and in the outbuilding into the wall. And it is a Wi-Fi access point. It has an antenna, so you could use that to give Wi-Fi to the outbuilding as well. But, there are many ways to do this. Radiolabs is a very good resource. Radiolabs.com for all of this.
Okay, I'll check that out. Just along the lines of the Google Mesh, just for education purposes, I don't know the terminology. If you would call one a base station, the one hooked up to the modem.
Well, they're identical, aren't they?
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
There was no difference in them that I saw.
No, they're identical. Most of these mesh systems don't make a distinction between the base unit, but the base unit is a base unit because it's the one connected to your internet access.
Right.
And then the other, but they distribute. They're all roughly equal in the sense that they communicate as peers. There isn't a master in the bunch. They communicate as peers, and they, in fact, they can even hand off from one of the satellite units to another satellite unit. It sounds like you have multiple units. You can see the topology, I think, in the Google Home app. Leo Laporte, these tech guy. This is the tech guy. Our show today brought to you by Rocket Mortgage. If it's time to buy or time to refi, it's time to go to rocketmortgage.com/techguy. Rocket Mortgage comes to you from the best lender in the country, Quicken Loans. Number one in customer satisfaction year after year after year, according to J.D. Power. And number one in mortgage servicing, too. So when you get a loan from them, that's a nice thing. They're going to take good care of you. But they've got a product that really brings the mortgage approval process into the 21st century. They call it Rocket Mortgage because it lifts the burden of applying for a home loan. A technological, client-focused revolution. You can do the whole thing on your phone. No more going to the bank, hat in hand, ask for money. No more going to the attic to find paperwork like your pay stubs or your check statements. You have to. Gosh, I remember having to call the bank again and again. They kept coming back. We went to the other guys, the big bank, when we bought our house 4 years ago, and it was a never-ending process. I kept faxing them stuff. That is not client-focused technological revolution. Rocket Mortgages, it starts with your phone or your tablet or your PC. You just go to rocketmortgage.com/techguy, answer a few questions. You probably won't even have to look them up. You'll know the answers, your name, address, birth date, social, that kind of thing. Then because they have trusted partners in all the financial institutions, you could share your information with Rocket Mortgage at the touch of a button. They crunch the numbers, and it's computerized, so it's fast. It's minutes. Come back and say, based on your income, your assets, your credit, here are the home loan options you qualify for. You pick the rate, the term, the down payment, and boom, you're approved. It's that fast. So fast you could do it at an open house. Just minutes. To get started, you go to rocketmortgage.com/techguy. Now's the time to refi. rocketmortgage.com/techguy. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, and MLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030. We thank Rocket Mortgage from Quicken Loans for their support, making it possible to bring you the Tech Guy podcast. rocketmortgage.com/techguy. Yeah, Radiolabs really is a great resource. I should mention them more often. They're kind of this is a really good description of different antennas. They say directional antennas like Backfire's Yagi panel or dish-type antennas, and they have them for sale. And that's something that you would, aim a Yagi out your window. Oh, look at this, the Backfire, $57.95. Small antenna, good gain, 15 dB, probably more than enough. But you can get more elaborate ones, some for non-line of sight. This is good. But I would read the description. There you go. 14-element weatherproof Yagi. There you go. And you'd probably want one on both sides, I would guess. But you'd have to read up on that. These aren't that expensive. Twisted Mister says power line can get up to 300 megabits, which is darn good. But both outlets need to be on the same side of the 220. That sounds like that's not going to work for him. Yeah, that's the problem is the Google Mesh hardware. You're right. So what he's going to want, That's a good point. You need an antenna that will support. Can you take the Google Mesh apart and get to the connector? There is a screw on the bottom of it. Before I unscrew this, is there a does this have a connector? I mean, every access point I've ever seen has a kind of coax style connector, and you just have to get the right adapter for it, right? What do you think, Burke? Burke is the handyman here. Huh? Let's see. Let's open it up. It's only one screw. One little Phillips screw, that's all. I don't know how you get it off, though. That screw didn't do nothing. There it is. I'm going to break it, aren't I? This is not a recommended procedure, folks. So the way it used to be, I don't know if it's still this way, is they used to, each Wi-Fi access point would have a different kind of coax connector. This is part of the Wi-Fi spec. They'd all have unique coax connectors, so you'd have to get one that would match. I need a spudger. Burke, I need your skilled abilities here. I can't. This is oh, Wally, can't pull it out here. It's all. What do you suggest?
There might be more screws under the.
It feels like there might maybe under the rubber.
Yeah, or the label.
Why would they expose one?
Usually, you can feel if there's a dent.
Yeah, there's not one under the label. It feels like it's. Okay, you take it apart. Here's your spudger. You want some screwdrivers? Thank you. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Ed's got me pulling apart my Google Wi-Fi now. There is this screw. So if you get an antenna, the trick is how do you get the antenna connected to the base station? I know we said don't call it a base station, but there is one unit connected to your internet, and that unit's the one that you're going to want to I guess you could use any of them. No, I take it back. You could use any of the Wi-Fis to do this. If you can get inside, and you need to find an antenna connector. Now, in the old days, every Wi-Fi access point had an antenna, whether external or internal, and it was connected via what looked like a kind of tiny copper coax connector you just twist off. And maybe my information is dated at this point. I wouldn't be surprised. Things change. But in the old days, the Wi-Fi spec required that every Wi-Fi access point have a unique connector. So if you'd order at Radio Labs, if you'd order an antenna, you'd have to order a tail to attach to the antenna. One end of the antenna has the standardized tail, but you'd have to have the tail that would be correct for attaching to the access point that you were using. And they sell them, of course, the different cables. And I guess maybe it hasn't changed because I'm looking at the connectors. 3Com has one, Aerocom has another, Apple has another, Avaya, Belkin, Blitz, all different kinds of cables. I don't know if there's Buffalo, Cisco. I don't know if Google has. My guess is Google didn't make theirs. In fact, I seem to remember it was made by TP-Link. I think that's the Chinese company that made Google's. But what you'll have to do, and I started opening it up, but I had to give it to Burke because he's the official engineer in the studio who takes things apart. He's our taker-aparterer. And he'll see if there is in fact on that Google Wi-Fi a removable connector. Then you would disconnect the internal antenna that comes with the Google Wi-Fi, and you would connect one of these external long-range antennas. Typically, 14, 15 dB increase in strength. That's you're close enough that would probably be enough to get it out to the building, and you'd probably get one on each end. If it's soldered in the Google Wi-Fi, then it's not the right choice, unfortunately. That may be that they've changed. That's standard. It was a good standard where everybody had to have a removable antenna and a standardized connector that you could then get a better antenna on. Mark, Costa Mesa, California. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Leo. Love your show. Obviously, I'm a big fan.
Well, that's not obvious. I think there are people who listen who aren't big fans, but I'm glad you are. Thank you.
Well, I wouldn't call if I wasn't. I'd just ignore you.
That's in this day and age, that seems like the sensible thing to do, but sometimes people are compelled to inform you how awful and rotten you are.
Yeah, my life is too complicated already. I don't need to go off base.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Twitter made it so easy. And so anybody can just say "you stink" on Twitter.
I know. I don't do much.
No.
I don't do much tweeting, but I don't have. I'm a screenwriter, so I got to watch my mouth. And
yes.
So you helped me. We started a podcast about in May of 2017. So we just dropped our 21st episode. It's a podcast on screenwriting.
Oh, nice. Tell me where it is, because everybody now wants to find it.
Oh, it's called plotpoints.com.
Love it.
You can find it on iTunes. I use Libsyn for the aggregator.
Very good choice. Yeah, they're inexpensive, and you can get big, and that doesn't cost a lot.
Well, the reason I like them is they make you. It's kind of make you idiot proof.
Right.
Actually, I've learned so much. I decided to teach a class here locally on podcasting.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm in love with the whole concept of it. Unfortunately, we have a huge problem with mic bleed. We get so much mic bleed, and of course, I'm using New Ear mics. They're about $35 or something like that. They're really not that expensive. I noticed you guys are crystal clear, and I'm sure that's.
I'm looking at episode 116. What happened to this show? Why does it sound like beep? So obviously you have a little audio difficulty. Now let me tell you, I started doing this.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What was it?
It was a misunderstanding with Audacity.
Yes, these things will happen. So I've been doing this for a little while. Started podcasting in 2004. And believe me, my first shows, not the radio ones, because, we have radio equipment, but the first shows I did that weren't, professionals, many of them sounded terrible. Let me ask you what you mean by mic bleed, first of all. So is everybody in the same room, or are they in different rooms?
No, we're all around a conference table.
So you're saying that you hear somebody's voice in your mic and they hear your voice in their mic, like that?
Right, and really, it's not that big of a deal. With if I'm using stereo tracks and I separate them, I can.
You can isolate them. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a big pain in the butt. I mean, you got to. It's a lot of work to do. So I get a couple dB through each everybody else's mic, and I've seen these things.
I know,
like
it's such a pain. Yeah. So first of all, make sure that your mics are not omnidirectional. You want highly directional microphones.
Okay.
Because an omni, which it sounds like you're using, inexpensive mics often are, will pick up a lot of sound from the side. Now, the mic I use, and most radio stations use mics that are more directional. But most of the mics you'll see in general are condenser mics, and they're very sensitive. They pick up, and so that's why when you see somebody in a recording artist in a recording studio, they put them in a booth, a soundproof booth, and they're wearing headphones. And they have one, and very often they have Neumann or some very fancy multi-$1,000 microphone. It's a condenser mic. It's very sensitive. And they want that because they want to pick up all the nuance of the voice and everything. But they have to, as a result, they have to soundproof the person. For something like you're doing, that's not practical.
Right.
Now, if you listen to John, what is the name of that mixer that we use? Oh, he's bringing it to me right now. You knew what I was talking about. So what we use is and a lot of radio stations use highly directional mics. They're not necessarily expensive. They're more expensive than those mics, those Era mics. But look at a Shure SM58, for instance, which is the microphone.
Oh, I was a musician. I love those mics.
You know those, right? They're used by bands everywhere because you can't kill them.
Oh, my God, yeah.
They're what we call large coil dynamic mics. They're not condenser mics, so they don't pick up they're not as sensitive. That's a big step forward. And they're directional. And you want a directional mic. For instance, the mic I'm using, which is made by Bob Heil, great old rock and roll sound guy. He's the host of our ham radio podcast, too. And he actually started making mics because he hated the ham mics he could get. So he started his Heil Sound, HEILSOUND. I use a PR40. That's what I'm using right now. And if I get off access of the PR40, you see, I'm only a few inches away, but I'm on the wrong side of it. I really get off mic very quickly. So
I can see.
It makes that's going to be the first step. Now, these mics are going to need to be plugged into a mixer, and that's what I asked John to bring me, which is from Behringer. They make a series called the X-Air mixers, and they will save you a lot of time because they do something. They can't call it this anymore. What's the name of that? Is it the Duffy ducking? What is it? Oh, it's the Dugan mix. Now, they can't call it that anymore because Mr. Dugan sued. But Dugan mixing automatically, instantaneously changes the mix so that the speaker is the one on mic. Hold on just a sec. It's kind of another way to call it would be, they call it now auto mixing. These Behringers are surprisingly inexpensive. We actually use them. We're going to go out in the field. We're going to be doing a panel at South by Southwest. It'll be a very noisy environment. There'll be many people, and we use these, and it takes you can use a Shure SM58 if you want to spend a little more. The Heils are $350, but I think this SM58's like $150. Really nice mic, and you can't kill it. And then you plug it into this. These X-Airs come, I think, in 4, 8, 16, 13. They're variety. 16 and 18. I think I've seen smaller ones though. What's nice is they record. So this is the 16. It records to a USB key directly. It'll do the auto mixing. So you don't even need a computer at this point. You can connect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mics. And then you can. They have other inputs. If you have an electric guitar, you can plug that in, and then you can either mix it out to your computer in Audacity or record it to a USB key. And each channel is an individual, separate channel on that, right? It's a 60. It is not. It does a stereo mix down. The 18 will do that. Okay, so the 16 we have does not do that. But that's probably what you'd want is you're doing it now. You're isolating each channel, and that'll help you isolate it. But this now I understand. Money is an issue. You don't want to spend $1 million on a podcast that's really not making any money. But
right.
But these are the solutions. And remember, this is a business for me. So we do spend money. We spend a ridiculous amount of money on gear. But I think if you want to specifically solve that problem, that's the way to solve it.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Leo.
You're welcome.
Appreciate
and congratulations
and your show.
Congratulations on your success. That's so great. So great.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're still building an audience, and
well, we're going to help you. Plot Points Podcast. Plot Points Podcast. Everybody, go listen. Plot Points. Plotpoints.com. I'm glad you got a good URL. That's awesome.
Yeah, I own 150 URLs, so I'm always looking for a good one. So,
and you even take calls on it, which is nice. That's nice.
Yeah, it's a Google Voice number. We don't take live calls yet, but
I wouldn't. I think that's what you're doing. Just take the voice calls, and then you can respond to them. 919 scripts. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's. I just spent 2 hours trying to find another one called 816 Writers. So that's a different project.
Good job. So the trick is, you can try it with your mics, getting them closer, but the problem is you got a bunch of loud guys sitting around. You're going to have bleed. So the more directional the mic, the better. Separate them, of course. And what you'll find is, and this is always an issue for us, people turn their heads.
Yes.
So you want to position the mics. If you get directional mics, you almost want these people to sit across from each other, so they'll be looking at each other and they'll be talking down the barrel of the mic. And that will also, because, oops, I just hit my mic, because they're on the other side, that will reduce the crosstalk as well.
And how do you prevent like when you're thumping? Don't you thump the table?
Yeah, don't thump the table. I have to tell people that all the time. Stop thumping the table. But we use I don't know if you've ever seen our video, but we use spider mounts by Bob Heil that isolate the mic, so the mic's kind of floating in a so. I can pound my desk.
I'm looking at you right now, Leo, so I get it. I got that.
I'm pounding the desk and it doesn't come through. But if you have tables, if you have table stands, it's called microphonic. You know, if I hit the stand, you hear it.
Yes.
But you know, it's an arm, it's a long arm, and it's got a good shock mount, so that really will protect it as well. All right.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. Have a great day.
You too. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you for this. Love this.
Thank you for this.
Love this. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. It's rock and roll day on the Tech Guy Show. Yes, it is. Oh, my goodness. On the line, Melanie from Irvine. Hi, Melanie.
Hi. I talked to you last week.
I remember. How are things?
Yes. I got it resolved.
Tell me. Okay, so Melanie couldn't get into her Gmail account. And you actually, and I love this, and I keep telling this story, went down to the Google offices in Irvine and banged on the door.
Yep.
And it was like the Wizard of Oz. They said, no one gets in to see the wizard. No how. No way.
No.
So how did you get it resolved? We're fascinated. I want to know.
Okay. Well, I kept trying, and it kept, asking me these questions like, when did you open the account?
Right.
That kind of thing. So I finally thought I'm going to do a minor dissertation. So I explained, I said, if you would like me to send you or to scan you a photocopy of when the email occurred, I will do that.
Good.
And then also, my name is not real common. It's common in northern Italy, but there are not many of us in California.
That helps.
And so, yeah, I said, how many people can there be with my name? And I had my personal account with my first and last name.
Yeah.
So I went on about that, and 3 hours later, they sent me a thing saying, change your password.
You beat him down.
Yeah, I did.
Well, but this is what we were talking about. The real issue, they don't want somebody to steal your account, is you need to authenticate. They need to be satisfied that you are you. And you did it. You made them, You made them believe. And I'm so glad that worked. Now, you've got your password. Start using if you really want to keep this from happening again. There's some things I would do. First of all, start using a password vault. That's a one place where your passwords are kept. It will generate good, strong, unmemorable passwords. See, if you had to remember your passwords or even write them down, the temptation is to make them easy to remember, easy to write down. But that's a bad password. A good password is 20, 30 characters of complete gobbledygook that you would never in a million years remember and you wouldn't even want to write down. But a password manager will make that for you, store it for you, paste it in for you so that you have you have the good password hygiene. And you do still have to remember one password, and that's the password to unlock the vault. You want to make that one good, but that's the only one you have to remember. Then the other thing you want to do, and you want to do this with Google, is turn on two-factor authentication.
Yes, I did that.
Good, because that'll protect you. Another pain in the butt. I mean, security is, it's a trade-off between security and convenience. And so more secure means a little less convenient. And then you've already done the one important thing, which was to have a recovery email that's a different email and a recovery phone number. And make sure you keep that up to date. That way, you're never gonna lose your password this way, I don't think.
Okay, I will do that. Then something else evolved once I got all that settled, is that my Outlook won't get Gmail into it, and it won't accept the passwords. It won't bring. So now what do I do with Outlook?
So, you obviously have to enter new credentials into Outlook because you've changed your credentials. And it may be that the two-factor is kerfluggering it. So some app, and I don't remember if Outlook handles this properly or not. The right way to handle this, and many applications will do it right, is they basically open a browser window and let you log into Google with your two-factor, the whole process, and then Google sends them a token saying, oh yeah, this is Melanie. But Outlook, if it doesn't do that, you need something called application-specific passwords. And that's anytime, and this is part of that security versus convenience, anytime you're using a two-factor authentication system, if the app you're logging into doesn't understand it, let's assume Outlook doesn't, you're going to have to generate a specific password just for Outlook. And Google does that. So all you have to do is search for, Google application-specific password, and it'll take you to the page. It's part of your Google security page. You name it so you know who's using that password. It's generated one time only for that program. That way you can revoke it. No one else can use it, that kind of thing.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. And, Leo, I tell you, I listen to everything you say. I have Carbonite, it is wonderful. And the people you speak there they're unbelievable. They're so nice.
Oh, I'm so good.
English.
Well, Carbonite for a while went overseas, and they were so unhappy. They realized that their customers were not getting good support, so they moved it all back to New Hampshire. So you're talking, and I think that's a good company when they say, you know what, it saves us money to do overseas customer support, but it's not working for our customers, so we're going to take it back to the U.S. It's more expensive, but we're going to do it right. Yeah,
they are absolutely wonderful to work with.
Good.
The Epson printer too. I love that too.
Well, you're my favorite. You're my favorite listener, Melanie. Thank you.
Thanks so much for your help.
How's your home security system? Do you need one?
Oh, I got one of those too from you.
Did you get a Simply Safe?
Yeah, I got that too. I tell you, I listened to everything you said.
Melanie, I love you. Thank you for listening, and I'm glad you worked it out. Thanks for the update too, because I always wonder when people call. Did Melanie solve that? All right, I appreciate it, Melanie. Have a great day. On we go to the New Jersey side of the show, and Dan. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Leo.
How are you?
Good to speak to you. I'm great. I have a question about calendars. I want to be able to share a calendar that I create.
Yes.
And have it go cross-platform.
Yes.
And I'm just wondering what's a good universal...
So there's a standard for calendars. It's called CalDAV, D-A-V. Mm-hmm. So anything that supports CalDAV will pretty much give you a shareable link you can give to somebody, you can put online, somebody can add it to their calendar. My personal favorite, the one I use, and I share this with many people, we have a calendar for the radio show, we have a calendar for the podcast, I have a calendar I share with my wife. All of that is Google. And it's free. Mm-hmm. So Google, it makes it very easy to share a calendar. You can share it via a link. Somebody can add that link. They have it set up so that you can, subscribe is what they call it. This is the CalDAV nomenclature.
Right.
Subscribe to a calendar. And then, for instance, I subscribe to the San Francisco 49ers football calendar. I subscribe to an astronomy calendar that lets me know when there's interesting astronomical events. You can subscribe to our calendar and know when our shows are going to be on, that kind of thing. So it's free. It's widely available. It works with almost everybody. I think Google's a good choice.
Now, I've made a Google test calendar.
Yeah.
Now, if I share it, they say to add an email of somebody, and then I guess they get the
That's different. That's an invite.
Oh, okay.
And by the way, that works great too. So when you create an event, you can invite other people via their email. This Outlook does this too. They'll get that in their email. They click the link. It adds it to their Google Calendar or their Outlook, or because it's a standard again, CalDAV. Okay. That's different than creating a shared calendar.
Okay.
So if you go into the calendar settings, you'll see that you can settings and sharing, it's called, and you can actually share the whole calendar. You can make it public. You can keep it private. You can do all sorts. It's very flexible. I think Google does a very, very good job. So right-click, create the calendar in your Google Calendar, right-click on it, go to Sharing Settings, and you'll see all the different settings. In fact, they have a whole link to a page, how to share your calendar with somebody.
Now, when somebody gets the link, does it go into whatever calendar they use? How does it know which calendar to apply? If it's an Apple, if they get it on their phone, if they get
so that's, hold on a second, we got to take a little break. Okay. Hang on, I'll explain it off the air. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. So if you, it depends what you're doing. If you share the calendar, you send them a link, that they actually have to manually open their calendar, and it could be Google, but it could be any calendar that supports CalDAV, and subscribe to it. They say subscribe to a calendar, paste the link in. The name will be the name you gave it, and it'll just show up as one of their. You know how you can have multiple calendars in a
right,
calendar.
Exactly.
It'll be one of their calendars. Now, if you send them an invite, then they click the link and they choose which calendar to add it to on their thing. So, but that's that's event based.
Yeah, I don't want that.
You want to share a calendar, like you have something, you have a basketball, a teenage basketball traveling league,
exactly.
And you want to share that schedule with all the parents. Very simply, you email them all that link, and most of them, if they have a calendar of any kind set up, if they click the link, it's not a Google link particularly, it's a CalDAV link. It'll open whatever calendar they use, and it probably, in most cases, will just subscribe to it, and they'll now see a brand new calendar, that'll say Dan's Basketball League.
Right.
And by the way, you can set it so they can change it or not.
Right, exactly.
If you make changes and they're subscribed to it, they'll instantly see those changes, so it's automatically kept up to date. It's a really great feature, actually.
I know, it really is. I mean, I had one where it was Mac to Mac. I did it, with another friend of mine.
Right.
They have iPhones. And I went away for a weekend, and they took care of my kids, and we were able to say 4 o'clock.
Isn't that nice? Yes.
And here's the address. So you click for info, it's the address of the place,
Yes.
and they could just do it. But I wanted to share it over more universal,
Yes. Yeah, I do that all the time. I have, for instance, I use TripIt for my travel, and there's you can share your TripIt calendar with anybody, and then they'll know when your travel schedule is, for instance.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I use that all the time. All my travel stuff comes into my calendar via TripIt. So it's very, I think, very sophisticated.
Yeah, that's cool. So I'm going to make not an invite, but a.
So So what you're going to do is you're going to create a new calendar, and then when you click on that calendar, I can show you.
I got it.
You'll see
it now.
Yeah, you'll see settings. There's 3 dots to the right. You'll see settings and sharing, and then you'll see all of the information for the calendar, including make available to the public, get a shareable link. So the shareable link is something that they can paste in, and then if they want to add a calendar, at least in Google Calendar, they can just say from URL, add a calendar.
And is this share with specific people? Is that the setting you pick, or?
No, you get a link that you would then email out or share in any way you want.
Okay, great.
Yep. So, but this is a standard that actually it's called iCal. I don't like to call it that because it confuses people because that sounds like Apple's calendar standard. It's not. So I use CalDAV, but it's the same idea. It's a standard for doing this. So every calendar app supposedly will support this.
Okay, we're great.
Nice.
Thank you very much, Leo.
Thank you. And Tony has given me a link that I'll put in our show notes from LifeWire on the best calendar sharing apps.
Perfect.
So this will show you some other apps they can use. And maybe when you send out that email, you could say, hey, if you use this, and this, here's how you do it, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Make it easy for people. All right. Thanks.
Thanks a lot.
Take care. So we've taken apart the Google Wi-Fi. Thank you. Yeah, there's somebody else did this, I know.
Just kind of pry it off now. Yeah.
So it doesn't look like you can access the I wonder which is the antenna. Are these the antennas?
Yeah.
So
those are removable.
But those look removable.
Yeah, but
they're not. Don't be careful. I mean, yes, they are.
But it seems like you might damage the circuit board.
You have to be careful.
I think if you carefully remove it, you could, and I bet you it's a standard connector.
That is
the colors.
Connector.
That's the idea.
The colors are standard.
Yes, the colors.
Yeah, so you'd need some information on how to do this. But what are these plastic things? Those just go.
That was he put those in. So
Oh, thank you.
Take it off.
Oh, thank you, Burke.
Because it's hard to get in.
It sucks. It goes. Yeah. So it was. There were more screws.
No, there's tabs.
Oh, they're just tabs. Oh, so it's just locked in.
Tabs
Yeah.
in there to
Burke is really good at both taking apart and putting back together.
Well,
John disagrees.
yeah, I remember a radius board.
Well, that was my fault.
Well,
I spilled stuff into it. That's not Burke's fault.
if he hadn't taken it apart, I think we could have had it repaired.
Oh, okay.
But don't let anybody else know that.
I think you need to go to ifixit.com and see what they say about.
Not on there.
It's not. They don't have it, huh? iFixit. Get together. I don't particularly like. One of the reasons I didn't mind you taking this apart. I'm not a fan of the Google Wi-Fi particularly. I think there are better devices, but my daughter. This is my daughter uses at home at her apartment. She only needed one, so I have a couple extras actually. Do you want to see what's underneath the PC board? Probably just antennas. This is interesting. Got to put that FCC sticker back on there. You were looking for another screw, but there wasn't one. I think I would like to keep this working, so... Do you want to put it back, or should I? I have the screw. Here, let me give you the screw. It's in here. Thank you, sir. And you just gave me this for fun?
No.
Oh, this is a nice opening tool. The iSesame, because it's thin.
It's got an edge. And
Yeah.
it's strong.
That's not better than plastic, I think. Yeah. Newer Tech's great. I like Newer. Oh, here's your spudger. I like Newer Tech. My spudger. Well, hey. How are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, and all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. You can call and get on the phone. If you're outside the countries of U.S. and Canada, you can still call via Skype out or some other VoIP solution. It shouldn't cost you anything because it's a toll-free number. 8888 Ask Leo. Our website, techguylabs.com. And you'll hear me sometimes say, I'll put that up on the website. That's what I mean. It's free. It's no sign up, no fee, just no gatekeeper. No key master. You just go right in there, techguylabs.com. We divide the site up into days, episodes. This is episode 1464. And then each episode's divided up into hours, each hour into segments. And you can just drill right down. Leave your comments, too. If you've got a thought or a suggestion, a better way, something to add, always welcome. Those comments are a big part of the site, techguylabs.com. Andy, Westminster, California, is next. Hi, Andy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. Boy, this is my first time. I've been listening to you forever, it seems like.
Thank you.
And I really, really enjoy listening to you. By the way, honestly, you have the perfect voice.
Aw.
I mean, it's just so soothing and it's crackly. You should be an announcer on CEN or something.
I meet people.
Anyway,
sometimes I meet spouses of listeners who say, you put me to sleep every night. Thank you. You're very kind.
The voice is just beautiful. But listen.
Thank you.
I understand you went to the CES show, and so did I. I go there every year.
Oh, you do? Are you a dealer, or you just do it? You're just interested?
Well, I was in the business. I'm not a dealer, but I go to it. I've been going to it even before 9/11 when they shut it down for a bit, and then it came back up.
Once it's a habit, you kind of
asking me what I thought of it, and I'm going to write him a letter. I think it's getting to be too big.
Yeah.
And too spread out all over Vegas.
Oh, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. I know. But I was only there for 2.5 days finding what I was actually looking for. A lot of the stuff that I was looking for, I did find. And matter of fact, a laptop that I'll probably buy, apparently it's going to come out. It's going to come out this quarter by LEG, which is great. But that's not the reason I called you. Maybe you can help me out. My wife's got dementia, and one of the problems I have with her is I keep losing her. I mean,
that's a problem, isn't it?
Turn around, she's gone.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm looking for is something that's attractive, an amulet or something like that I can put around her neck with a gold chain.
Yeah.
And I looked online, and I cannot, for the love of me, find anything. I found two things. One by Security Bees, which is a possibility, and there's another one.
So there are a number of these. A lot of them are designed, believe it or not, for children, because children also will wander off, right? So the one I think, so maybe by looking for an adult, you're missing, for instance, the one I would, let's see if you could still get it. It was $100, called the Pocket Finder. Now, the problem with GPS, of course, as you probably know, is it really doesn't work indoors. It works outdoors because it's line of sight to the satellites. So so they call this an outdoor personal GPS locator. It's very small. You could easily wear it around your neck. It's not particularly pretty. There are many of these. They're all, under $200. There's a range from $50 for the Spy Tech STI GL300 mini portable real-time personal and vehicle tracker to a little bit over $160 for something that maybe looks a little better. GPS has gotten so small now. The couple of things you're going to want to look at is battery life. The one I mentioned, the Pocket Finder, says 4-day battery life. So you just have to remember every night probably to plug it in just to make sure that you.
That's not an issue.
Yeah, not a big deal.
Something that's kind of that looks like something nice around that she can wear around her neck.
Yeah, I mean most of these are plastic because they're trying to be weatherproof. They don't look like jewelry, but I understand. It'd be fun if somebody put this in something that looked like maybe a gemstone or a rock of some kind. This may be a business opportunity.
It's just the first time I ever called you, and this is the first time I ran home and I actually got you on.
I'm so glad.
Laptop.
I'm so glad.
And it's like, wow, I see you scanning the system.
You're watching the video. Yeah, this is all. So if you're watching the video, you can see I'm scanning through a bunch of these on Amazon. And
Yeah, but I looked at a couple of them. One of them, the one that looked great, was by Security Bees.
Yep.
And I mean, I says, I don't know. I says, for the love of me, you should probably know better than I do.
I don't, because I haven't used these. But this is, you remind me of one of the legends in the computer business, a guy named Gordon Bell. He founded Digital Equipment Corporation and really was so widely respected. His wife, Gwen, similar situation, Alzheimer's. And he wasn't looking for a GPS device, but he was looking for something she could wear around her neck that would be a camera. And that at the end of the day, they could go over their day, and it would help her remember the things she did that day, the people she was with. It was kind of a neat idea, I thought. So this is something that the tech industry is more and more aware of as we age. I think that GPS is a very natural thing for this. Some of them have alert buttons that she could press if she were getting in, she were lost and confused and she couldn't figure out, where you were. Some of them are wristwatch sized. Of course, an Apple Watch has location. Some of the Apple Watches have GPS built into them too. So we'll put a couple of articles. Tony has been the article man on the show today. He's in our chat room and he's found a link at aplaceformom.com, which is an article about dementia and elderly GPS tracking devices. And they mention Blue Water.
Place for Mom.
Yeah, Place for Mom. We'll put this at techguylabs.com. They mention a bunch of it's a senior living blog. And Blue Water Security, Comfort Zone Check-In, GPS Smart Soul, iTrack. There's a lot of choices here as well. They also mention the Pocket Finder. So I think this is something, GPS is, thanks to phones, these GPS chips have gotten smaller and smaller, cheaper and cheaper. They're more widely available. They work quite well. I think that this is going to be an easy thing for you to solve. And I'm sorry that you have to do this, but she's very fortunate to have you as a caretaker. I think that's great.
Well, you just brought something up which I didn't even think about. You're right. It's an outdoor device, not an indoor device.
Yeah.
Son of a gun.
Yeah. So if she gets, if you go to the mall and she wanders off, it's not going to work as well. Yeah.
I know. She was at the L.A. airport, and that's the problem. She went. I took her to the bathroom, but the bathroom had 2 exits, which I didn't know. And I'm waiting for her, and she went the other way.
Now,
thank God we found her.
Thank God is right. Yeah, but of course, even through a window works. So GPS probably would work inside the airport. They don't work quite as well indoors, but they still somewhat work. There are Bluetooth tracking devices that might work better. Tracker, which was a sponsor. There's also a few others. And the idea of these is they're small. You could wear them around the neck. You could have them engraved. The Tracker has an engravable tracker. That's Bluetooth. So you pair that to your phone. You press a button on your phone, it'll make a sound. That might help you if she's within 150 feet. And then it also provides a map that if other people with the Tracker software go by her, you can turn on notifications. It'll notify you, and that does work indoors. So Tile is another company that makes these, T-I-L-E. Both of them are fairly small. There are some good choices out there. I think that in conjunction with GPS for outdoors, the Tile or the Tracker for indoors, those might be good solutions as well. Thank you for the call. I think she's fortunate to have you keeping an eye on her. 8888 Ask Leo, that's the phone number. TechGuyLabs.com, the website. We have a great chat room. Thanks to Tony and everybody in there. irc.twit.tv. More of your calls right after this. All right, I got to show you. It's time for a little bit of an advertisement from our sponsor, Fracture. I got to show you some pictures. Picture time. Look, if nowadays we have such great cameras in our camera phones, we can take amazing pictures. But the problem is, you take the picture, it goes up on the Photos app, and you never see it again. Or maybe you go through your Photos app every once in a while. But in my opinion, that it's no better than the shoebox that we had in the closet with all our photos in it, right? You got to print them and put them up on the wall. And if you're going to print them, I want you to go to fracture.me. They print on glass. Let me just show you. They come in a very convenient package that's ready to mount on your wall. Here's this is the picture. This is the smallest size they do. It's kind of like a 6x5 kind of, 4.8 inches by 6.4 inches. It's on glass, okay? They print them on their U.S. source materials from their Gainesville factory. They're handmade. They do a really nice job. Now, that's the smallest. They get bigger. This is more like an 8x10 here. That's what picture Lisa took of me in Peru at Machu Picchu. And it's borderless. It comes in this insert. It comes with a screw that you can mount it with, and then on the back, it's all ready to go. They've got the laser cut rigid backings, very easy. They have a 60-day happiness guarantee, but I got to show you the big ones. They get bigger and bigger. So here's a little bit of a bigger size. This is a picture I just love. I took this on the train ride up to in the Andes, up to the. Look at that. And the thing is, you put these on the wall, and these pictures are no longer lost to the world. This is one that it makes a great gift I gave to everybody in our family. Henry's high school graduation picture that I took of Henry and his sister Abby. And I just love that. I made it black and white. They have a little photo editor, so you can put borders around it or take the borders off. You can change the color, and they go big. Go big or go home. 21.6 inches by 28.8 inches. Ready? This is for hanging over the mantle of the fireplace. Look at that. That's a picture. One of my favorite pictures I've ever taken. So I thought, I got to print this out. Bring your pictures to life. Get them out of the digital shoebox and put them on the wall with Fracture. If you go to fracture.me and use the code TechGuy15, you get 15% off your first order. And then there's a little survey, and make sure you say, I heard it on the Tech Guy Show, because they're our sponsors. Bring a special memory to life. Give it as a unique gift. Decorate your home with the moments that tell your story. They even have, you can get pictures of the Eiffel Tower, the Mona Lisa. They have artwork that you can have printed out too. And something about printing on glass. I mean, look at something about it just comes to life. The black and white. I'm a big fan of monochrome, and I feel like something about it just really comes alive. I love these images. I love them so much. I printed them on glass at fracture.me. Use the offer code TechGuy15 to save 15% on your first order. We are big fans of Fracture. I print stuff there all the time now. Really nice people. Fracture.me. And the offer code TechGuy15. Graduation's coming up. St. Patrick's Day. You don't need many excuses, in my book anyway, to go to fracture.me, use the offer code TechGuy15, and tell them you heard it on the Tech Guy Show. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, 8888. Ask Leo. What's my name? Leo. 8888. Ask Leo. And hello to everybody. We have people listening, on iHeartRadio all over the world, thanks to the internet. We have people listening thanks to iHeartRadio and tune in on their Amazon Echoes, on their Google Assistants, Google Homes. There's even people now on the Apple HomePod, right? You can listen on that. And by the way, it sounds good. The Tech Guy Show sounds really good on the HomePod. So try it with your voice assistant. Say, I want to hear the Tech Guy. Let me listen to the Tech Guy. And you might be surprised. I might suddenly be emerging from your Amazon Echo, from an Echo near you. Roger in Weatherford, Tennessee. Hi, Roger. Thanks for hanging on.
Thanks, Leo. How are you today?
I am great. How are you?
Good. I have... there's a conference I had planned on going to, and I'm not going to get to make it.
Oh.
But they are going to be streaming it live.
Yay.
And so I'd like to capture the video. I use a MacBook Air. I've got the latest operating system. Let's see. I don't have High Sierra. I've got Sierra.
Okay.
But I'd like to be able to capture the video so I could watch it at a later time. And I was wondering if you had any suggestions to do that.
Yeah, normally capturing streaming video isn't an option, right? You're watching YouTube or whatever. In some cases, you can do it, but generally speaking, when somebody streams, they don't anticipate, or sometimes they don't even want you to capture it. However, if it's coming over your computer screen, you can capture it. The product I'd probably recommend is something from a company called Applian, APPLIAN. It's called Replay Video Capture for Macintosh. They have a free trial, but I think it's not expensive to buy. I think it's, $49. Actually, that's the suite. If you just want the video capture, because they have audio capture too, it's $30. And this will do exactly what you want. It's kind of like a DVR for streaming video. So you could set a time, a schedule. You can record it. Assuming that the streamers aren't really trying hard to prevent you from doing that, there should be no issue.
No, I don't think that they are. This is a religious event.
Oh, yeah, they don't mind. Yeah.
Right, and so I know that they're going to be fine with that. But
yeah,
I know I've been able to capture video, through using QuickTime before, but it doesn't capture the sound as well, and so that's what I was interested in trying to do.
There are a lot of free solutions. People who stream video games, for instance, often use something called OBS Studio. That's free, but this one is really designed to. I think it's worth the $30. You should try it for free anyway and see, because it's really designed to do exactly what you're talking about, and it makes it very easy to do. And Applian's been doing this for an awfully long time. This has been kind of their bread and butter for at least a decade. They have a variety of tools for capturing video and audio. 8888 Ask Leo. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Going to line 3, Diane in Chicagoland. Hello, Diane.
Leo, how are you? I'm the lady that is in love with the Note 3.
I know you, Diane. You love it like a man, you said.
Exactly. You remember.
I wasn't going to forget that.
Okay,
so what can I do for you today, Diane?
I'm going to get a Note 9 when it comes out because it's supposed to be like a tablet.
Yeah, did you see that? That's going to be I think the S9, maybe it'll be the Note 9 next year. It'll be, because Samsung can make these now flexible screens, so they're going to just open it up. It'll have a front, small part, and then it'll open up like a tablet. Won't that be cool?
It will, so then I'll have another man.
You can love it like 2 men.
Right.
Twice the size.
My question today is, how do you remove a deceased person from your Google Calendar?
Goodness gracious. So we were just talking about calendar sharing on Google Calendar. Now, this deceased person, do you have a calendar of theirs in your Google Calendar?
No, on Google Calendar where their name is listed for their birth date.
Oh, the birth date. Yeah, you don't want to see that, do you? That's sad.
No.
Yeah.
No.
That's a reminder.
Yes.
Yeah. So it depends where it's getting it from. It probably is getting it from Google Contacts. So you can always go to google.com/contacts. That's your address book. Find that person's name and either delete the birth date, which will get rid of that. You want to see other people's birthdays, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You can either delete that birth date or delete the whole entry in your contact manager, and it won't show up. If you're on a computer that has its own contact list, sometimes the calendar program you're using will pull from that as well. So you want to find, basically, that person is still in your address book. You want to find their entry. Start with Google, but it might be, if you had a Mac, in the Macintosh contacts. If you have a PC, it might be an Outlook. Look for that person's entry. And if you delete the birth date, you won't see their birthday anymore. But I guess you're not going to be calling them much anymore. So you might just delete the whole address book entry.
Okay. On the other hand, there's one that has joined this religious affiliations, and they do not celebrate birthdays, but she's still very much alive.
So you again delete her birthday. Don't delete her phone number. You will be calling her maybe, but do delete her birthday. If you delete the birthday from the entry, it wouldn't show up anymore.
All right.
Hey, what religious affiliation is that? I want to join that. I don't like celebrating birthdays.
No, you don't want to be that one because it's like they've been brainwashed like Hitler.
They don't celebrate anything.
No, they do not.
Okay. I'm just going to make up a new one that just doesn't celebrate birthdays. That's all. That's the only dogma. We don't celebrate birthdays. My wife was not going to go for that. I could tell you right now. She's in a different denomination.
Okay, it's Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yes, I think I knew that. Yeah.
Right. Okay. The last question is: do you have a suggestion solution for saving music files from my Android onto my laptop?
Yes.
Or
one word: double twist. Look it up in your Android or on your on the internet. Doubletwist.com. It's awesome. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888. Ask Leo. The phone number line 2 is Greg in Los Angeles. Hello, Greg.
Hey, Leo. How are you?
Great. How are you, Greg?
Doing good. Chico State grad, by the way.
Well, that's nice. That's the party school, isn't it?
It was back in the day. I think things have calmed down.
Oh, I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, my son was going to go to Chico State, then he heard that parties were better at Colorado Boulder, so that's where he ended up.
Well, good for him. Stay away from Chico. Yeah. A long-time listener, and I'm really at my wit's end, and hopefully you can provide some guidance.
All right.
I created an email account, a Google account, back in 2000 and, must have been 4 or 5. And used it for many years and then stopped using it. And now I'm interested in using it again. But every time I go through the sequence of recovering my password on Google, I get to the very end where it says, is this your phone number? And it gives me the last 2 or 3 digits of the phone. And I say yes. And then the next step, Google says, sorry, we cannot recognize you.
That's frustrating. I wonder if they deleted the account for inactivity.
Perhaps. I used it, off and on from 2004 or 5.
Is the phone number a traditional cell number?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not.
Last 2 digits.
You didn't change the carrier or anything since you had that account.
No, I think I've had Verizon the whole time since I've had this number.
It's interesting. I don't because it obviously knows it's you. The password worked. It knows your phone number. Normally, what it would do, I think, is send a text to that number at that point.
Yeah, that's what it says we're going to send a code to that number, and the last 2 digits are my number, but I never get the code. And I was just hoping there was actually some support contact at Google that I could
Well, you should do what our caller did and go to Google's offices and bang on the door and see if anybody answers. I'll never forget that. So I'm not sure what's going on there. There is a account recovery process. It might be appropriate to go through that at this point, as if you've lost that account information. Google doesn't have any support. I mean, look, it's a free service. If you pay for G Suite, then you do get some support, and there is some support there. But we'll put Tony's at it again. Tony, I'm gonna have to hire you. Our team tech guy in the chat room. He's got a link which we'll put in the show notes to a support page on Google on recovering a lost account.
Okay.
Yours isn't technically lost, of course, but I think it's maybe time to act as if it was.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Why can't I get into my old account? We couldn't be sure that you're the owner. This is interesting. Keep accounts safe. We can't give access to them if we can't confirm who the owner is. And that's that same process I was talking about where they have to authenticate you with recovery questions. So I would take a look at this page and see if there's some path you can take to kind of go beyond just the standard recovery. It sounds like because you haven't used it in a while, they maybe just are hesitant to reactivate it.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
Well, I hope to get it back. It's a very unique one, and I really appreciate the insight. You have a great show.
All right, thanks for listening. Yeah, I guess given that Google and Facebook, for that matter, don't really support anybody, I will be getting all their calls from now on. So just call me, just call me, and I'll do what I can to help you. Peter in Santa Clarita, California is next. Hi, Peter. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi.
Hey.
How are you doing today?
Very well. How are you?
Long-time listener.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you're listening.
So here's the situation. I switched from one satellite company to another satellite company.
Yeah.
So on my old satellite receiver, I had two outputs, an HDMI that I could run to my television, and I had just RCA audio outs that I could run to my outdoor speaker system.
Oh, nice.
So my new unit no longer has the RCA audio output for my outdoor speaker system.
Right.
So what I'm left with now is it has an AV out, a 10-pin round port, and it's got a digital audio out.
Oh, digital would be one way to do this.
How would I convert it then?
They make a digital.
The RCA.
Yeah, you just get a little dongle. They make digital. You could do it actually with HDMI as well because the audio is on the HDMI. So you'd need an adapter that will strip the audio out of it. The reason they provide an optical port is because Sonos and other speaker systems have optical in, so it's very easy for your home theater to get the digital from the optical. But it's not too expensive to get. It's called a DAC, digital to analog converter.
Okay.
And you're going to want to get one that has the particular optical connector that you have on the back of that, which is probably something they call Toslink, TOSLINK. I would suggest, so as not to get ripped off, you go to a website called Monoprice. They really specialize in good quality, inexpensive cables and converters. This is going to be a little more expensive because it's an active converter. You have to get a DAC. But let me just see. Optical to analog audio converter. I'm just going to search on Monoprice and see what they've got. Yeah, there's $38.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. This will take HDMI or SPDIF, SPDIF, that's the optical, and convert it into, or Toslink, and convert it into analog audio you can hook up to yours. So you listen to TV shows? Or I guess the satellite has music channels on it, doesn't it?
Right. I use it for all those music channels for my outdoor speakers.
Yeah. So this is an easy thing to do. They have a variety of these at Monoprice, under $50, all of them.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
Thanks for calling.
I'll definitely check that out. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. We'll put a link up on the show notes. I'm looking at a 3928 HDMI audio converter. On the front, it's got the HDMI in, and then it has HDMI out. So it's a pass-through. So you could take the digital satellite box, HDMI cable, plug it into one side. On the other side, plug another HDMI cable leading to your TV. But meanwhile, it also strips the audio out, and it provides you with both optical and analog audio out. So this kind of does everything you'd ever want it to do. $39. Simple, easy peasy. Monoprice is a good place to go for this kind of stuff because sometimes you go, if you went to a stereo store, wait a minute, they don't have stereo stores anymore, do they? If you went to a stereo store, they might, sell you a $300, well, you need the best quality audio conversion unit possible. Nah, you don't need that. Walmart has one. Oh, look at that. Thank you, Scooter X. $17.99. Walmart.com. Does exactly the same thing. HDMI to HDMI, SPDIF, RCA, left-right audio extractor converter. An elegant name for exactly what this product does. We'll put that in every other link that we can find in the show notes, techguylabs.com. Think of it as a resource, not only for now, but anytime. You don't have to, the show doesn't have to be on. It's a website. It's open 24/7, no charge, no sign-up. techguylabs.com. We got a pretty good search in there, too, so you can search for previous answers to questions. Thank you, Scooter X, for that link. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. Website, techguylabs.com. More of your calls still to come. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, Chris Marquardt took the weekend off. Actually, his computer crashed, I think. We'll get him back, our photo guy, next week. We were going to do the photo review. That gives you one more week to snap your pictures for our... it's not a contest. It's not a competition. No wagering, please. We're looking for images. What is it this week? This month? Do you remember, chat room? I'd have to log into my Yahoo to find it. I want to. I can't remember. Here's what you do. The way we do this, you share the pictures onto our Tech Guy group on Flickr. So go to flickr.com. That's the free Yahoo photo sharing site. Join the Tech Guy group, and it'll say right there, I think, what the current assignment is. I'll look it up and I'll find it for you. We'll put it on it's probably on the website, huh? techguylabs.com. 8888 Ask Leo. And I'm sure we'll do the review next week when Chris gets back, if you were waiting. Let's go to Kremling, Colorado. Roger on the line. Hey, Roger.
Hey, Leo. So good to talk to you after all these decades. I started watching you on Zip Davis TV.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah,
it's 20 years ago. In May, it'll be the anniversary of ZDTV's launch. May 11th. Hard to believe.
I've got a Windows 10 Creators Update problem. I can't. So they've been trying to install since January, but
oh man!
But I've got a Windows 10 Cloud Book with just a 30 gig SSD.
Yep.
And it requires 8 gigs.
Won't do it.
And I've got a 1 terabyte external drive yesterday and moved everything over to that I could and uninstalled the apps that wouldn't move over.
Still couldn't get enough free storage on there, huh?
And I'm still like 3.9 gigs short. I went through everything, and I've moved or uninstalled everything I could. So is there some kind of workaround?
Not that I know of. These cloud books really they're very low cost. They're kind of designed to compete with Chromebooks. In fact, I think Acer is actually selling their Chromebook with Windows 10, basically. So you could either run it as a Chrome OS device if you bought the Chromebook version or the CloudBook version, which has Windows 10 on it. But yeah, and we had a caller yesterday, same problem. He had a 32 gig storage, and he just couldn't do the upgrade. Even if you stripped everything out, I guess it's just these were never intended really to be fully upgraded. You can certainly continue to do the security patches, and I would, but I think it may be you just don't get the fall creators update. You just can't, just because of the size of it. Now, let me ask the chat room if anybody has any suggestions. It's possible that you could, and you can try this for free if you've got a USB key. You could download the Media Creators tool and make a install of Windows 10 with the Fall Creators Update. That's downloadable now as an ISO. Put that on a USB drive and see if you could install from that. But it's going to be my guess you can't. I think these were not designed, frankly, to be upgraded in this way.
Yeah, the security. Once I deleted photos, I was able to, get the security upgrades. But for this one, it's just.
Yeah, I think this is. I'm gonna have to do some research, but it's my guess that they just didn't anticipate a big update like this.
Yeah,
the only way I could think you could do is maybe having the download on a USB key. I think you can't do it. I'm looking at the Acer page, and they say which of their products can be upgraded, but I bet you that the CloudBook is not on there. I bet you they just didn't anticipate this. The storage on that is so limited, 32 gigs, that I just think you can't upgrade. Now, this isn't the end of the world. You probably heard me say update, update, update. The Fall Creators Update is a features update. Microsoft's going to do these 2 times a year probably from now on. Big, we used to call them service packs. They're actually verging almost on new versions of Windows. But since Microsoft says we're only, Windows 10 is the last version of Windows, we're only going to do these big, updates twice a year, and they'll add new features, nothing you've got to have. In fact, there was really minor, like the font window looks different. It's minor things. What you really need, and when I say update, is the security updates. You're still going to get those. Those don't require as much space. Even if you don't install the Fall Creators Update, I think you'll be able to continue to install the security patches. Now, there's a larger issue, which is you're going to be bugged forever, right? You're going to be bugged by Microsoft. So let me do some research on if there's a way to turn that off. I mean, all you can do is say thank you, Microsoft, for allowing somebody to sell a computer that couldn't be upgraded and then bugging the heck out of me to upgrade it. How annoying is that, right? Just incredibly frustrating. But I don't know if there's an answer. Keep listening. But if somebody knows, they'll call or they'll put it on our website, techguylabs.com. There's a comment section there. Is there a way, this is the second call we've got this weekend. I suspect it won't be the last. Is there a way to take these machines that were sold briefly, inexpensive machines designed to compete with Chromebooks, frankly, with small amounts of storage, 32 gigs of storage, is there a way to get these to the Fall Creators Update? He's already stripped off everything he can. I don't know what else you could do, right? I think it's my sense that you're just not upgradable. It's frustrating. But give us a ring, 8888 Ask Leo if you've got a solution. And we'll keep listening, Roger. We'll see what we can do for you. Melita, Los Angeles, you can't get your system crashed during the update, huh? Hello, Melita? Hello?
This is Dana.
Oh, Dana. Well, I'll talk to Dana, then I'll get to you, Melita. I don't know what happened there. Dana in Griffin, Georgia. Hi, Dana. Do you know how to help? Oh, I know why you got bumped up, because you might have a solution.
Yeah, that's right. I heard it go ding, and it was a different ding.
Now I know why. Yeah. Well, that's because Kim's brilliant. Yes.
What you do, Leo, is you go get the creators, the latest fall update, and put it on a USB key, and then just wipe the whole drive and put it back on there, and it'll work.
You've tried this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That was my hypothesis.
I got an old Acer CloudBook. It's a
Perfect.
30 gig. And I kept doing it, and I went, what the heck's going on here?
So you figured it out. That was my hypothesis. You go get the Media Creators tool, put it on a USB key. You got to wipe the disk, obviously, and do a fresh install. Brilliant. Thank you, Dana, for coming to the rescue. I appreciate it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More calls in just a bit. Fresh install. Thank you, Dana.
Hey, you still here?
Yeah, I'm still here. Thank you so much.
Well, I was going to tell you, I'm a blind person, and it's even got a talking installer, so it was pretty easy to do.
Yeah, they start. I know. Actually, that's something new. Cortana starts talking to you now when you get the installer going.
Well, what will happen though, Leo, is when they do this, they're going to lose all those Acer things that are on the computer. I failed to mention that.
Yeah.
You know, the Acer software,
yeah.
the Acer updates.
But you can go re-download that.
Yeah, I didn't want it on mine.
I know.
I don't need all that on.
Yeah, it just fills it up. Because you're just going to have the same problem next spring when there's the spring update.
That's right. Well, I thought I'd throw that in there. Just tell them to do that and tell him to format and just get rid of everything on there.
That's the way to do it. That's the only way to do it. That makes sense.
Yep, it works. All right, well, thanks a bunch.
Thank you, Dana. I really appreciate it. Our listeners to the rescue. Makes sense. It was kind of my hypothesis, but I'm glad to talk to somebody who's actually done it. Says it works. It's a good idea anyway, right? Fresh install every once in a while. So now I know next time somebody calls, I'm going to tell them. Melita, we'll get to you after the break. Sorry about that. You got bumped a little bit so we could get that answer to that question. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers and the internet and home theater and digital photography and smartphones and smartwatches and all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo is my phone number. If you want to call in and ask a question, make a comment, make a suggestion, or do like Dana just did and help us out a little bit. That's 888-827-5536, toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Website, techguylabs.com. You can make a contribution there, too. We have a comment section. If you hear me say something you want to disagree with or you've got a addendum, or like Dana, you want to say, hey, I tried it and it worked. You can do this. techguylabs.com, another place you can go. Meanwhile, back to the phones. Poor Melita. I got her all excited, and then I put her on hold for another few minutes. Thank you for your patience, Melita. Leo Laporte.
No, you scared me. I thought I had to take the cell phone out with the laptop. I've had to do both of them now.
No. You're good now. What can I do for you?
Okay. So I didn't take your sage advice and leave the antivirus alone. When I renewed my my subscription to that, and they downloaded the update, it got installed, and the Windows Update problem arose because I guess the registry didn't get updated before.
Actually, that's probably not it, because if the registry isn't updated, if that key isn't set by the antivirus, so what we're talking about is these Spectre meltdown patches, which Microsoft says can cause a problem with some antiviruses, because the antiviruses, as antiviruses will, write very low-level code. And so there was Spectre meltdown patches. This was a big security issue a few weeks ago. Interacted with some antiviruses and caused blue screens of death. But what was supposed to happen is the antivirus companies were supposed to update and then put a key in the registry that said it's okay. If you don't have that key, then Microsoft supposedly will not update your system. Oh. So I don't know if that's what's going on. However, it is not unusual to have update problems, and that sounds like what's going on. What happened to you?
That's exactly what happened. So computer was working fine, came home one evening, launched the computer, and it crashed. I could not restart it. I tried everything to turn it on, to get it back on. Windows would not launch. I kept getting an error message, don't recall what it was. But so I bit the bullet. I cried my tears over losing some data.
Oh, no.
And I decided to go to system recovery.
Okay.
So I have the original system recovery disc that came with my laptop. I purchased those. I have all the original discs.
Yeah.
The seal was still on them, had never cracked them open. Went to do system recovery, had the discs, and I had downloaded Microsoft Visual C++ years ago. I get an error message from Microsoft Visual C++ that says there's a runtime library error, and then the next window I get when I click the OK said to turn the computer off and to contact the manufacturer.
Holy cow!
of the package, the software package. Now I got the error about 30 minutes before I called you. I thought, let me try one more time before I call Leo. tried it again, got the error messages again, turned the computer off. Now when I restart it and try to go to system recovery through the F11 key, I get a black screen. I can't even get system recovery to go now.
So you can't get into Windows, you can't get the system recovery to run, the whole thing's shot.
That's correct.
And have you tried booting into safe mode, holding the shift key down and booting up just to see if you can do that?
I think I tried doing that, and it won't even go to safe mode.
It won't even go to safe mode.
Not at all.
So I suspect that this has nothing to do with updates or your antivirus, but in fact, your hard drive, more likely. So this C++ thing, this is what they call a dynamic linked library. And since most programs on Windows are written in that language, actually more nowadays in C# and .NET and so forth, but a lot of programs are written in C++. In order to save space and time, they call a common library, a linked library, that unfortunately is the source of many problems in Windows because there's many versions, and one of your programs says, well, you got the wrong DLL on here. You're in what we call DLL hell. However, I think, as is often the case, computers are not smart about their error messages. They'll tell you the proximate cause, but it doesn't really tell you what's wrong. I don't think that's the issue. I think what's probably happening is that your hard drive has some bad sectors or is having some problems. That's
I ran the test, and it passed.
Well, but what test?
Okay.
Check disk?
Hard drive test in system diagnostics.
Yeah, that doesn't do. That's not.
Okay.
Check disk is not notorious for being super good. It doesn't even mean necessarily there's physical problems with a hard drive, but just some of the data on your hard drive got messed up. That's why you can't boot anymore. And you have the recovery disks. When you boot into the recovery disks, are you able to do that?
No.
You can't even load the recovery disks like you try to boot to the CD or whatever it is. Is it a CD? Do you have a CD-ROM?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're booting to an optical disk, and it just crashes.
Yes. It won't do anything. It spins for a while. There are a couple of flashes for the hard drive, and then everything is quiet. And if I go in to set in BIOS setup, if I go to set it to boot to the drive. Nothing happens, and when I restart, that setting has changed back to internal disk hard drive.
Yeah, that's normal. It will shift back, but it doesn't. So maybe those disks are bad. I mean, it doesn't. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's something wrong with your system. I mean, that would have to be. That's a catastrophic failure if you can't even boot from the optical drive. Like you can't load those disks in, then that's not a hard drive failure. That's a catastrophic failure. Your motherboard or something. But I'm wondering if that it could just be though you had those disks for a long time. Maybe they're just not in good shape. I don't know. This is fairly serious.
Yeah, the disks were in the original packaging. They've been in a drawer in their original shipping packaging. They have never been touched. So if they were bad, they were bad when they were delivered. And
well, that's not unusual. That is odd. All right, one more thing you can do. You have another PC you can access?
Yes.
One more thing you can do is Google Windows Media Creation Tool. You're Windows 10 machine, right?
No, it was Windows 7.
It's Windows 7. Okay. That's all right. I mean, I'm not. That just means you have to find your license key. That's all. Boy, I wonder. So how old is the machine? It's a little older then.
Yeah, it's about 8 years old.
Yeah. Now I'm wondering if maybe. I mean, so there's a number of things that could be wrong. It could be those disks are bad. It could be your optical drive's not working. It could be there's a larger, motherboard failure of some kind. It could be the hard drive is damaged and the disks are bad. So I can go on and on and on. I think if you can download and make a Windows 7 installation disk, you will need the license key. And you could put it on a USB drive and boot to that. And in other words, you're going to format the drive. We call it nuke from space. We're going to download a known good Windows installer. This will at least, if the disks are bad, this should still work. If this doesn't work, then there's something really wrong, and you're going to have to bring the computer in, or maybe even get a new computer. But if it's just those bad disks, you'll be able to boot up into this USB drive. and install Windows 7. You will need that. Like I said, you will need that key. It should be on the bottom of your system or on the materials that you got with the recovery disks.
Okay.
So Microsoft has a software download for Windows 7. You can put it on a USB key. You can boot to that. You've already written off the data because this will wipe the drive completely. Right. And I think this, a 7 or 8 year old hard drive, it could easily be just a bad drive. So, when you do it, do a complete format. Don't do a quick format. Really you want to really look at that disk.
Okay.
All right. That's about all I could think of. It's hard to tell exactly what's wrong. You're right, Melina, catastrophic failure. Could be the CMOS battery. Somebody's saying, it's old enough machine that maybe the CMOS batteries run out of juice and the machine's confused about what kind of hardware it has. That could be it. I think the first thing, if it were me, the first thing I would do is download an operating system, maybe Linux, maybe Windows. See if you can boot to that. If you can, good. Your machine's working. Now you want to try to reinstall Windows on top of the existing hard drive. And if that works, well, then it was just a bad drive. We'll go back to the phones and take more of your calls in just a moment. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888. Ask Leo the phone number. Back to the phones we go. And David in San Francisco. Hello, David.
Hey, Lee, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm all well, except for a computer problem.
And I bet you're running Windows.
Yesterday morning.
More Windows.
No kidding. Yes.
It's been Windows problem day today. I don't know why, but all right.
I could start talking to you about my phone problem as well, but that's a different story.
Okay.
Different day.
All right.
Yesterday I woke up and then this weird kind of problem. And anything that's on the Windows side of the apps or whatever, they're auto-scrolling down. It's like as if a down arrow or whatever was locked in place.
Oh, interesting.
It doesn't happen when I switch. If I go over to Chrome and read a long page, it's not going to scroll down.
Okay.
But Notepad scrolls. Any app I try to open scrolls. And the weirdest thing is I have an app that I downloaded a few weeks ago and I wanted to install, and that's how I first noticed it. And the very first question it says is, what language are you selecting? And I'm trying to click on English, and it just keeps scrolling quickly down to the very bottom.
So is it a laptop?
Yeah.
It has a trackpad?
Dell laptop.
Dell laptop. So it's got a trackpad.
Well, it does, but I closed the laptop and I've got a keyboard and
mouse. You don't need... Okay, well, I would open up the laptop and take a look at... it's possible that there's this... Even though the laptop's closed and you've got a keyboard and mouse attached, that trackpad and keyboard on the laptop still could be causing problems. I would make sure you don't have a stuck down arrow key, for instance. So maybe pry it up, blow it out, put it back on. Make sure that there's no schmutz. That's the technical term, schmutz on the trackpad itself. I've had that happen where it feels there's something on there and it thinks there's a finger scrolling down. So I'm not sure if when the lid is closed it disables the keyboard and the trackpad on the closed laptop. But my guess is they're still humming along. So you may still be getting some inadvertent feedback from that. You should also look, of course, at the mouse you're using and the keyboard you're using. Make sure they're okay. If you're just using the laptop, if you disconnect the mouse and keyboard, the external mouse and keyboard, and just using the laptop, does the same thing happen?
I didn't do that. I almost, until you mentioned it as a laptop, I don't even think about it in a way.
Right, you use it as a desktop.
Closed and put down on the desk, and so I never even noticed.
So I would see if the laptop does it without, again, all troubleshooting is basically eliminating possibilities till you find the culprit. So, let's make sure it's not the external mouse and keyboard you're using by disconnecting them and opening up the laptop and seeing if it does exactly the same thing. If it does, it could be a stuck key on the laptop or a trackpad with schmutz. If it doesn't do it to the laptop, then maybe it's those external keyboard and mouses. There's something going on there.
Yeah, the fact that Chrome, it doesn't happen if I'm in Chrome.
That's weird.
At a web page.
Yeah, that's weird. Not sure why Chrome would be ignoring it when everything else is paying attention to it.
Yeah, it's a doozy.
Yeah. But that's basically it, though. Is just let's try some things, take some things off. Try different things. I'm not sure why Chrome would ignore
I'll disconnect the keyboard.
Yeah.
And, I did turn off the mouse, and I
that didn't do it.
It didn't do it.
Yeah.
But
it sounds like a stuck down arrow, something like that. Remember, these keyboards are always sending signals, and so I wouldn't be surprised. Also, given it's a closed laptop, maybe there's something going on in the laptop, something stuck in there. A stuck function key, perhaps. 8888 Ask Leo. If you think you can solve the problem, help David out a little bit, you can always call in for that too. Richard in West Los Angeles. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. Good to talk again.
Good to talk to you.
I downloaded an app called Android Auto, which works very well about planning trips in Los Angeles and God knows where else. But I'm wondering if you have any idea whether it would work in another country.
Yes, it does. So is Android Auto that you downloaded?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have it in front of me right now.
So Android Auto is a cool app. It actually is designed to take over the phone when you're driving. And put a nice big buttons on there so you can play music or use your maps, make phone calls, but nothing else. It's to reduce distracted driving. And I actually use it on my Android phone. I really like it. But it's connected to a map app, whether it's Google Maps or Waze. I think that's in the settings. You can choose which app you want to have in there. Probably, if you haven't changed it, it's Google Maps. And Google Maps works all over the world. It's actually quite amazing. You can be almost anywhere and find your way home. It's changed how I travel. I no longer worry about wandering out the door of my hotel in a foreign land, even if I don't speak the language. As long as I've got my smartphone, I can always. What I do now is I drop a pin. So as we're traveling around, we were in France in the last fall, and we knew where we were supposed to meet the bus, and we wanted to wander a open air market. So I just dropped a pin at the bus and didn't worry about getting lost because I knew I could find my way back. It's very convenient.
Because I'm planning a trip to Europe to a place that I haven't been to recently, Berlin, and I'm always afraid of getting lost in places like that.
Perfect for that. You should also get the Google Translate app because you can use it and have a conversation in German. You speak in English. The Google Translate interprets it. Actually, the speaker of the phone will say what you just said in German. Then listen to the German speaker. He'll speak in German. It'll translate it back into English for you. Google has some amazingly useful travel. I have a whole folder of wonderful travel tools from Google. There's a Google Trips app that will pay attention to where you're going, from your calendar and automatically download information about that city. You'll download Berlin information before you go there and won't use data while you're there. On and on I can go.
Sounds ideal.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm going to check that out for sure.
Travel has changed thanks to the smartphone, in my opinion. Because of the GPS and the always-on connectivity, the only thing you want to do is make sure that you've arranged for international data, because that can be very expensive. Don't do international data roaming. Who's your carrier?
One thing I was trying to do, I've had my phone unlocked.
Good.
And what I was planning to do is get a SIM card in Germany.
You could totally do that. Now, you won't. The downside of that is you'll now have a German phone number. That could be an upside, depending on how long you want to be there. But
right, just a week. And the major thing is that I have to check in with somebody because I've got a reservation at the Reichstag, and I want to make sure.
Oh, you're getting a tour of the Reichstag? Oh, that sounds
it's
great.
Not a tour. I couldn't get a tour, and I wanted to go there for sure.
Yeah.
So what I did was I signed up for a coffee and deal.
Lovely.
Lunchtime, and
How fun.
Part of that is that you can wander around there.
Have a great trip. You're going to have a blast. You got all the tools you need. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, and there's an offline map mode, which is very handy. When you get to where you are, you'll actually, or you could do it at the hotel because they'll have Wi-Fi, or you could even do it before you leave. But you can set a radius and say, download all that map information. And that's nice because then you don't have to use data while you're walking around. It'll just know where you are. There's so many useful things, actually. A smartphone is fantastic for travel now. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. Well, Mark opened up the laptop, blew some air in it. No improvement. Make sure there's no schmutz on the trackpad. He's got a strange situation with scrolling. It is, completely possible. I'll tell you one more thing you could try is go into the control panel in the region settings and just change the keyboard to another setting. It might be a little hard to type for a while, just to see if that changes it. It might be a software problem, might be a driver problem with the keyboard and mouse that's sending stray scrolling signals. He's in the chat room if you want to help him. He says, I had to wash my hands just thinking about the schmutz on the trackpad. Hey, chat room is irc.twit.tv. Phone number is 8888 Ask Leo. Curtis, Spring Hill, Florida is next. Hello, Curtis.
Hey, Leo, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I bought recently a smart TV, a Samsung, and I want to browse the web. So I bought a Logitech K830 Bluetooth keyboard, and I went into settings, and the TV recognized the keyboard, but all I can do is I can share the computer screen with the TV and type in that way. But with the internet app on the smart TV, it doesn't work. I have to use a remote control, and it has a pointer. And you have to click the button.
That's the worst. So it doesn't see. It's strange that they would have a Bluetooth keyboard support, but not support it in their browser. On the other hand, nothing would surprise me. Smart TV software is the worst. The worst. And so it's completely possible that the browser in that Samsung TV isn't aware of the Bluetooth keyboard, even though the TV itself is. That wouldn't surprise me at all. So you type, you move this. The Logitech keyboard is they call it a living room keyboard. It has a little trackpad built into it and all that stuff. And you can't scroll. You can't do anything with the browser from that keyboard.
No. The only thing I can do, like I said, I can share the computer screen on the TV and type, but it's just mirroring whatever's on the computer.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were using the browser built into the TV.
No.
You're using your computer browser.
Right.
Okay. So, yeah, that would make sense then. Yeah, sure. Because the computer doesn't know about the Bluetooth keyboard, only the TV does. So the TV is it would be like asking the kids in Stranger Things that you're watching on Netflix to be able to see what you're typing at them. It's not related. The TV is just showing a screen, a picture of what's going on your keyboard. You'd have to use the computer's keyboard, or if you paired the Logitech to your computer, you should be able to do that. So in other words, don't pair the Logitech to your TV. Is that what you did?
Yes.
Yeah, pair it to your computer. That way, when you're showing your computer screen on the TV and you type on the Logitech keyboard, it will work. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I've already tried that because on the setup, I have a little. I had to buy a Bluetooth. Dongle.
Well, here's how you can see if it works. Can you go over to your computer and type on the keyboard there while you're watching the TV? Is it in the same room?
Yes.
Go type just go see if your mouse and keyboard on your computer changes the browser on the screen on your TV. It will. And then you have control. Now you just got to get the Logitech to work with the computer. So I understand why you made the mistake. You feel like I'm watching the TV, the computer on the TV, so I should pair the keyboard to the TV. It's not. You pair the keyboard to you need to talk to the computer. You're talking to the TV. You can't talk to the TV. That's like talking to the kids in Stranger Things. Say, don't go in there. It's dangerous. They just ignore you. They don't pay any attention. The TV is not paying any attention to the keyboard. You need to pair the keyboard with your computer. Greg in Mobile, Alabama. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Greg.
How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm fine. Sun's shining and comfortable out.
How nice. It's spring in Alabama.
Well, a little early, but yeah, we don't want to talk too soon.
I know. I feel the same way. We were having some nice weather, and all of a sudden it got cold.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, we jinxed it. What can I do for you?
my granddaughter's 13, and she is a whiz at digital art and graphics.
Oh, that's so great.
And she's got an Asus ZenPad 10.
Yeah.
But none of the styluses that she's gotten will work, and she wants to get one. I'm looking maybe for a tablet or a 2-in-1 touchscreen that stylus will work with. And I've seen so many out there, but I'm not too sure which would be the most advantageous for her.
Yeah. So the ZenPad is a tablet. It's a Windows 10 tablet, right?
It's an Android.
It's Android. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you want to have her be? She's got some Android drawing apps she likes.
Oh yeah. She's got a Google Play Store. She's got a Auto Draw or something like that.
Okay.
There's a couple of apps she uses.
But now she can draw on it with her finger, obviously. But she wants something with a little more refinement.
Yeah, and maybe a bigger screen. It might help. I don't know whether to.
Well, yeah, you're really kind of stuck with the ZenPad. You kind of stuck with what you got. I mean, it's an Android tablet. It's not like you could, for instance, if it were a PC, I could say you get a Wacom tablet and all that stuff. But it's not. It's Android tablet. It's really, yeah. You can buy some. She's tried styluses, like Android styluses.
Yeah, she went into Best Buy and found a HP, and they had a stylus that went with it, and it was an i7, but it has a hard disk drive. I wanted to get.
Oh, are you gonna get a new computer for her?
Yeah, that or a tablet.
Oh, I misunderstood. I thought you wanted something that would work with the Asus.
Oh no, I was just.
I get it. We want to start all over.
I'm sorry.
I get it. All right. Yeah, my goodness, this is a great, I'll tell you, if price is no object, definitely the thing you should get her is an iPad Pro with the Apple Pencil. There are amazing drawing apps like Procreate. I see people doing real artwork on their iPad Pros. Right. So, but that's going to set you back a little ways. That's $600.
Well, that ain't bad.
Yeah. Oh, that is without question. If she's a budding artist and you want to support her, I did this actually for my nephew, who is a graphics design high school student, and I got him an iPad Pro and an Apple Pencil. They come in two sizes, 10.5 inches and 12.9. Now she'd love the 12.9, but now we're talking $1,000. It's a lot more expensive. So go with the 10.5. It's bigger than her Asus. The software available on the iPad for drawing is amazing. And Apple sells an additional $99 pencil that you draw with that is fantastic. It is the closest thing, and you're right, for the price, that's remarkable. I know it sounds like a lot of money, but there is nothing even close in that $600 price range. So an iPad Pro and an Apple Pencil. And then the software she'll want is probably, there are a number of them. I think Procreate is the first one I would get for her. And you're never going to see her again. She's going to be drawing all the time. And you're going to be the best grandfather in the world. I guarantee you. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Apple has, if you want to save on Apple devices, they have an outlet store for refurbished. I'm sure you can get a refurbished iPad Pro. You won't save a huge amount of money, but it's still, got the full Apple warranty and all of that. I think that is iPad Pro is the gift for the digital artist. I might have gotten the prices a little bit wrong, though. They're a little more expensive. The 10.5 inch starts at $650. So it's a little more expensive than I said. And you are going to want to add $100 for that Apple Pencil. Although it's the reason I prefer it over even, say, a Windows Surface Pro with the Windows Pen, which would cost you more, is I think nobody does a better job of responsiveness to the pencil, of sensitivity to the pencil than Apple. Microsoft's done a pretty good job with the Surface Pro. I know a lot of artists like it, but there's just the slightest bit of lag as you're drawing. It just kind of takes you out of the experience. The Apple Pencil is so responsive. It's pressure sensitive, so you press hard, you're going to get a thicker line. You press lighter, you get a lighter line. You can use the side to shade and so forth. I just think they've done a really remarkable job. And I love the iPad Pro. And she'll find a lot of other uses for it, too. So a little more expensive, I'm sorry. It starts at $650. But as I said, go to the outlet store. You can probably get $50 or $100 off of it. And it'll be just as good as new. Jan on the line from Tri-Cities, Washington. Hi, Jan.
Hi, I'm so glad to get through to you.
Well, I'm glad you got through. Thanks for calling.
You're welcome. I have an odd thing that's happened on my iPhone 6, and nobody that I've talked to can seem to have had this problem.
Okay.
So I've had it only about 4 months, and I really like it. About 3 to 4 weeks ago, it was the middle of the night, and I was just going to check the time, and I pushed the home button, and normally it would just bring up the apps, the home page.
Right.
And right there, as soon as I touched that home button, instead come a picture of the backside of my credit card that I've got in there. And it had the correct 3-digit key at the bottom and everything. And it said, to complete this, to complete this, press your...
You accidentally launched Apple Pay.
Okay, just by touching it, huh?
Well, which iPhone you said, the 6?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember on my iPhone 10, and I think it's the same on the 6. If you tap, the whole idea is they want you to be able to launch Apple Pay quickly. So if you tap the home button, the on-off switch twice, it will show your credit card. So that's the idea, is to make that very easy to use your credit card for Apple Pay. But so it is a little disconcerting the first time it happens. Now that you know, you'll go, oh yeah, and you'll press the home button again, it'll go away, and you'll be good to go. Don't feel like somebody's messing with you or anything like that.
I did, and I didn't put the code in. I just pressed the home button.
Yeah.
It would go away, and
that's to make it easy to do. So if you're at a store and you want to use Apple Pay, it's easy to pull it up.
Okay, so that leads me to a different question I hadn't planned to ask then. When I press my home button real quick twice, normally I've already got the apps open, though, come to think of it. When I push it twice, then it opens up everything off to the side that I can just swipe off. So I guess that's different from a black screen.
The lock screen. Maybe it is. To be honest, I'm using an iPhone 10. I don't remember what the iPhone 6 command was. I notice on the iPhone 10 it's double tapping the on-off switch. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think if you play with it a little bit, or you could, I could look it up or go into the help and see how you launch Apple Pay. That's whatever it was, however you grabbed the phone, that's what happened. You triggered Apple Pay. It's harmless. It doesn't, you're right, without entering the PIN, nothing happened. Nobody's messing with you. It's just convenience that it would pop up easily. Unfortunately, if you don't expect it, it's like, well, what the heck? What's going on here? I understand.
You feel like something's going on in the background.
Yeah, it's somebody's confirming in the chat room for iPhone 6. It's double-clicking the home button. So that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right.
Do you have time for one quick question?
Sure, why not?
Okay, all right. The thumbprint, I put it in, and it worked great for probably a month, and now suddenly it just doesn't work at all, and I'm just wondering if I should just cancel that one, if that's kind of a normal...
You can retrain it. You can go back and give it more information. We used to call it overtraining. So if you give it more information, it'll work better. And make sure when you do it, by the way, it's a fingerprint, could be any finger. What I typically will train is both left and right thumb and left and right index finger. Those are the only two fingers I'm likely to use to unlock the phone.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I train it with all four of those. But, you have room for more. You can actually train the thumb twice. Or, you're right, you could delete it. On the older versions of the iPhone, I think this was a not uncommon problem where it would forget or would start to lose that information.
Yeah.
So just retrain it. It's very handy. I absolutely use it. It's a secure way to lock your phone.
Great. Okay, very good.
Hey, nice to talk to you.
Makes me feel better.
Oh, good. Nothing to worry about. Thanks, Jan. Take care. Somebody in the chat room says you could, of course, turn off the double-click Apple Pay settings. I neglected to mention that, but if you go into your iPhone settings, you can disable that if that bothers you. But I think you want to leave that on. It's funny because Apple Pay has not taken off as Apple thought it would, and yet it is absolutely the best way to use a credit card. It's more secure. It protects your privacy. I'm not sure I buy that it's faster, although lately, because of these new cards with the chips in them, that takes longer now, right? You got to put the card in the slot and you got to leave it there. And Apple Pay, it's very simple. In fact, if you have an Apple Watch, it's even easier. You double-click the button on the Apple Watch, your credit card comes up, you tap it to the tap to pay. In some cases, depending on the merchant and the credit card, you may still need to enter a PIN or sign your name. That doesn't go away. So I don't think it's more convenient. But here's the key that I think is really great. The merchant does not get your credit card number. So there's no risk of your credit card number getting stolen at the restaurant or at the Target store or wherever you're using it, because they aren't even getting the credit card number. They're getting a token, one-time token from Apple Pay that authorizes the payment. They don't get your name. They don't get your address. Actually, it's one of the reasons Walmart, was it Walmart? I think it was Walmart said, we're not going to use Apple Pay. And they created their own payment system they called Currency, which involved a very convoluted exchange of QR codes. It was nuts. But the whole reason they did that is because they wanted to capture your name and your address. They wanted to capture private information. They didn't like it that Apple Pay never gave them access to that. This is one of the ways I think Apple has done some things right. Apple knows, right? You have to trust Apple. But Apple's very, careful about not giving away your information, including your credit card, your name, your address, to anybody. And I think that's a good thing. By the way, I think Walmart's Currency is down for the count. I think that was a flop. Seemed like it was a bad idea. We're out of time. I want to thank Michael Cozio, our musical director, for spinning the discs, playing the tunes, pushing the buttons, all that jazz. Kim Schaffer for answering the phones. Most importantly, though, I want to thank you for joining me. I'll be back next week. I hope you will, too. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Have a great Geek Week. Bye-bye. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.